How's it going, everybody? It is a quiet day on the barn. It was quiet until Mona decided to chime in. It's cold, it's rainy today. There's a chance in the weather forecast for freezing rain, so not a good day. Good day to be inside. I just kicked up the baleage. Decided to kick that up. Everyone was laying down. The cats are laying down. The cows were laying down until I kicked up the baleage, but now a lot of them are kind of up and about. So I did something like this. I can't remember if I was chisel plowing. I think I was disking, and I did like a tractor talk, and then it kind of breaks up the whole, when I'm chisel plowing every day or disking every day, and it's the same video after a while, just different background, different field, different scenery. And I decided, let's do this tractor talk thing where I'm sitting there and I'll show a little of the field work, but we'll talk about a topic or some different topics. And I thought it went over pretty good. It seemed to be received pretty good. People seemed to like it. So I'm like, we'll do more of that. And since then, I haven't done any more of that. Well, now that things have kind of quieted down as far as field work, there's not much going on in the field now in January. It's time to I think bring back tractor talk. So anyway, today we're gonna do a tractor talk thing about buying a tractor, and this isn't like a PSA or it's not like a how-to or what to look for when you're buying a tractor. It's just a story of when we were in the market for another tractor and looking for another tractor. And for the longest time, I kind of did a history of the harvest, and you kind of saw the progression of the equipment throughout the years. So I think where we kind of left off on that was when we went to the FP 240, and that's when we decided to get the bigger tractor, and that's when the 4555 came in. So we were running, 4555, which kind of bumps everything down. The 4055 was the big tractor, the 4040 was the second tractor, then the 29, and when we got the 45, it kind of bumped out, bumped everything down. The 4055 was kind of like the second biggest tractor, and the 4040 and so on and so forth. So when we were chopping, it'd be 45 would obviously be chopping, the 4055 would be hauling the wagons, and the 4040 would be on the blower. The 4040 would be on the blower, on the manure spreader a lot. We would do a lot of random things with it. We, every now and then we'd TED with it, whatever. And we decided, because a lot of our hay ground is up this hill, go down the road up this hill. And when you load up the manure spreader and you're going up to, you take off a hay ground, clear bale, get everything cleared off. Okay, we'll spread manure in that field, and throw the manure on it, fertilize it, and the second cutting will come back. So getting to it, the 4040 was just really working, pulling the manure spreader up the hill. Excuse me. And I should have had a water as I'm going to sit here and ramble. But anyway, so we decided, it probably should, and there was a lot of. The other thing that the 4040 did was the 4040 right now has 18.4 38s on the for the back tires, and we used to run it was a metric, I'm not sure of the size, but it was a wider, it was bigger than 20.8. I think it worked out to be like 23 or 24 or something like that. It was a thick tire. Instead of running duals, because we used to put snap-on duals on the 4040, run the roller harrow. Was the big thing during tillage. And we decided we were going to go with the new roller harrow. We were going to go, instead of a 12-foot 970, we were going to go with a 15-foot Brilliant roller harrow, which not only, you got the 3 extra foot of the machine, it's actually a lot heavier machine too than the John Deere 970. So we decided, there's no way the 4040 is going to be pulling that. We weren't going to put it on the 4055. There was already enough things for the 4055 to do. We were going to be in the market for another tractor, a tractor that would, and the 4040 did all right on the blower, but to have a little extra horsepower. I know I got into this talk a lot when I did the first cutting video, when the 45 was down and we put the 4055 on the chopper. I was hauling wagons with the 4040 and I got I got my brother-in-law's 4050 we put on the blower. A lot of people were kind of going back and forth. Well, you could have put the 29, you could have put the 4040 on the blower. That would have handled it, and it would have. It, you know, it did, and we did in years past. But with the 29 on the blower, you're not going to be making a lot of progress. It'll handle it. You know, you've seen that old video I did when we had a 2640 on the blower, and that's just what we had at the time. Those were little 14-foot wagons, you know, so you'd be sitting there forever unloading wagons, and you just wouldn't be that productive in a day, and you really want to get the crop chopped and in the silo. So anyway, we decided we need another tractor. We wanted to be in that, you know, 110, 120 horsepower range. Of course, I said, oh, we could get a 7810, but that was a little more than the 110, 120 horsepower range. We wanted a quad range just because, I don't know, a little lighter transmission than the Power Shift. Wouldn't take as long to warm up in the winter time because it was going to be on the manure spreader and, you know, stuff like that. Wasn't like 100% like it had to be a quad range, but we decided, you know, we should look for a quad range. So we were shopping around. There was a couple tractors here and there. I think my dad stopped and looked at, in Oriskany Falls, he looked at a John Deere 7400. I think he looked at that. Down at the fair, I talked to a neighbor out in Lyle. He's like, you know, he had a couple tractors down. One of them was that 4250. And he said, I just kind of told him, you know, we're looking for a 4250, 40, you know, 4440, 4250, 4240. And he goes, I got this 4250 I'd sell you. And I said, is it Power Shift or quad range? And I guess he doesn't care for the Power Shift. He likes the quad range. He said it was a Power Shift, and I said, if it was a quad range, I'd be all over it. He goes, if it's a quad range, you know, we wouldn't sell it. So I said, maybe we'll take a look at it someday. But we decided we were gonna come take a look at. We found a 7600. John Deere 7600. It was down in Pennsylvania. It was priced for around $32,000, which, if you look at 7600s, that's a little lower than you usually see them. You usually see them maybe in the 40s, maybe a little more, depending on the hours and the condition, and obviously, and stuff like that. So we decided, you know, power quad, you know, two-wheel drive, that'd be a nice tractor to, you know, haul a roller harrow, you know, work the roller harrow, manure spreader. That'd be a nice tractor. So we decided, let's go take a look. You know, my brother was still on the farm at the time, so he was doing the milking. Me and my dad went down to PA to go check it out. It was like 5.5 hours. I don't know the dealership's name. I can't remember the dealership's name. It was a farm. It was a Mennonite farm that also sold equipment. I really can't remember the name. So we're gonna go look at that 7600, and then there's a place in Pennsylvania, Burkholder, if I say the name right, Burkholder Equipment, Implement, whatever it's called. They had a nice 7410 that we really wanted to take a look at. So we were gonna go look. You can get up? Did I disturb you? So we were gonna go look at the 7600 and then swing over, because those I don't know if I'm saying the name wrong. You know, it is. You know, I apologize, but I think it's Burkholders. They got a beautiful set of tractors. John Deere, a lot of nice Fords too. You want to be in, Lily? You want to be in? Huh? You're a sweetheart, aren't you? So we wanted to swing by and just see the tractors they had and everything, but we ended up running into construction on the way down. Ran into construction on the way down, but anyway, we finally get to this farm. A couple tractors with the steel wheels, a lot of different things around, you know, equipment and stuff like that. So you had the 7600 sitting right there. It's a little sun faded and everything, and you know, getting it out and looking at it. A couple of the plastic things around the hood and everything were, you know, just chipped or, you know, cracked or something like that. And so, well, you know, that's not a big deal. If it's just, you know, cosmetic stuff, we can always replace them. You know, I've replaced the battery boxes on the 3010, and I've done what else did I do on the 3010? You remember the battery boxes? Oh, that front panel I did. used to be I put a new one on there, and then it, you know, faded and stuck out like a sore thumb, so I painted that one. But anyway, I thought something was odd as soon as we got there when the guy had a trickle charger on the starter. And I know you can jump start them that way. I know you can put a jumper on the starter and start them that way, but I figure if you're trickle charging, why don't you just put it on the battery? I figured that made more sense. Oh, I know you want to be in the video. You're in the video, don't worry. You don't worry, you're in the video. So I'm like, I even said something to my dad. I go, that's kind of odd. Why don't you just put it on the battery? But, you know, going over, checking it out. So the guy comes out, sees us there, comes out, and, you know, we're talking to him and everything. And he goes to fire it up, and it's dead. It's not firing up. It's like, I kind of chuckled in my head, and I said, I don't know, you trickle charge the starter? I don't know. But so he says, oh, let me get a bigger jumper box. And he puts it on the starter, and he's just, it was a weird, kind of neat little thing. It was on this little tractor. It was on the front of it, and he's just revving up the little tractor, and the jumper box is getting power, and I'm just like, but he put it on the starter, and I'm like, well, why don't you just put it on the, why don't you just, what, do you need me to move? I'm like, why don't you put it on the battery? I even said to him at one point, I hate being that guy. I hate, you know, you know, we haven't made a deal or anything. It's his tractor, it's his thing, it's his setup. You know, I don't like telling people how to do their thing. So he's, you know, but I was just like, why don't you just put it on the battery? And he's like, oh no, this'll work. And he just keeps revving it up, and you can see some sparks. And I go to my dad, I go, well, if we do buy this, I guess I bet you we're going to be replacing the starter on this. But he fires up the tractor, so we're letting it fire up, and we're kind of talking to him a little bit. And tractor just sounded, I mean, the 414 that's in those sounded great. The engine itself had a beautiful sound to it. It sounded real nice. But I'm walking around it, and I just hear this like winding. It was a weird sound. It was like just this whoa, 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 whoa. And it came from like the back right, like tire area there. And I think around like where the transmission is and everything. It's just like a weird winding sound. And it wasn't the PTO. That's the first thing I checked. The PTO wasn't running, because I know sometimes when it's low on oil, your PTO will spin. But I was just like, that's just such a weird sound. But anyway, we talked a little bit, and he says, oh, run it down the road, and, you know, there's a place to turn around down there and come back. So we hop in, you know, and it's a 16-speed power quad with the two levers. Your outside levers, your A, B, C, and D, you know, to select your ranges. And then you have your inside where you can power shift in reverse. 4 gears in reverse and 4 gears forward for each range. So anyway, we get going. He puts it in A, and the linkage it seemed to be a little off. It seemed like the lever would be in neutral, but it was just catching that first gear, and then you bumped it up a little bit. That wasn't too alarming. I'm like, it just probably needs to be adjusted a little bit. Not a huge deal, but put it in A, power shift through all 4 gears. Yep, looks good. You know, put it in B. Going down the driveway, power shift through all 4 gears. Yep, good. C, power. We go to get it in D, and he just like, man, my dad's like, I can't get it into D range. And so we go down the road in C, turn around, you know, back up, and, you know, have all 4 gears backing up. And he goes to me, he's like, you drive back, see if you can get it in D range. And I cannot get it into D range. It will not go in. So we just drive back to the farm in C range, and I did, you know, a bunch of things once we got back, and, you know, I put in reverse and, you know, power shift through the gears. Everything seemed good. So the guy comes out. He goes, oh, what'd you think? I said, it, you know, sounds nice. Not bad tractor. You know, the inside needed, you know, cab kit. I mean, like cosmetic stuff. Nothing huge. But the not having D range really was a red flag. And I said, you don't have D range in this tractor. And he goes, oh no, that's impossible. I've had transmission work done to this. I said, I don't know what to tell you. I could not get it into D range. And he's like, well, I've had transmission work done to it. And I said, I understand that, but I'm just telling you, we couldn't get it into D range. So he goes, let me try. And he fires it up. And he's going forward, and you just hear this grinding, and you're sitting there going, ooh. and he's going back and forth. He'd go forward and he'd go backwards, and he'd go a little faster each time, and he's just grinding it. And he finally, you hear this big grind, and all of a sudden this clunk, and you see the thing jump, and he goes forward and he goes back, and then he shuts it down, gets out, goes, see, I told you it'll go into D range. And I just said, I don't know. And I said, well, is it just me? Do you hear this winding sound back here? And he claimed, he gets out and he goes, oh, it's just a little low on oil. And I'm thinking, if it's low on oil to where a pump is winding like that, man, you got to get some oil in that thing. What's the deal? So all these are starting to add up, and I'm just like, you know, I'm giving my dad the look like, I don't know, I'm not getting a good feeling on this one. And now I see why he's got it priced on the lower part of things. And so the guy's really, oh, what do you know, I think it'd make a good tractor. I mean, you know, and at one point he even said, well, if you're just going to put this on a manure spreader, it's not like you're going to be, you know, do you even need D range? I said, yeah, a lot of our fields, and especially our hay fields that we're trying to get to, we got to go on the road for, and I'm not going down the road in C range. I mean, geez, just at top speed, you know, people are freaking out because they got to slow down, and they're trying to pass you in blind intersections and everything. So I see you up there. So anyway, we're going back and forth, and I just said, I think my dad finally just said, I don't think this is what we're looking for. And then the guy said, well, would you take it as is? So he said, well, I don't know. Well, let's see what you can do for a price. You know, we're thinking, you know, if he knocks it down, and yeah, sure, we'll have it, you know, for a decent price. If we can get a good price on it, knowing that it needs transmission work, yeah, we'll have it trucked right to Cazenove Equipment. Now it's SN Partners, but at the time, Cazenove Equipment. When we bought our combine, and it was advertised this way, the top auger had gotten hit when he pulled it into the shop. So he was flat out honest about it. He put it in the advertisement, and he said, hey, when we went and looked at it, he said, yeah, it's been hit up top, and that's gonna need fixing. And he goes, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know what else. He goes, because I wasn't turning it on when I knew that auger was messed up, so I don't know what else might be in there. So when we bought that, we had that taken right to Kaz Equipment, and they fixed it up, and it runs great. Luckily there were no other surprises, but anyway, so we're thinking, yeah, you know, what can you do? And he goes, transmission, would you take it for 28? And I'm just like, nah. $4,000? Come on. I don't think so. And I'm like, nah, we're not interested. And we start, you know, thanks for your time, you know, we're not interested. And he really wanted to move that tractor. He's like, well, wait. And he finally said, listen, and he kept pushing that. It's had transmission work. You want to call the salesman? I'm like, nah, or not the salesman, the mechanic that did it. And I'm like, he really wanted us to talk to the mechanic that did it. And I'm like, I don't care what the mechanic did. I don't care if he, you know, I don't care if he worked on the transmission. I don't care if he worked on the engine. I don't care if he put a Dixie horn on it so you sound like the Dukes of Hazzard when you're coming over the hill there. It's not going into D range. I don't care what you've done to it. It's not working. So so anyway, then he finally says, you know, okay, it's going to go to auction here in a month or two. There's this big auction. I'm sending it to auction. And I'm just like, no, you're getting rid of junk, you know that it is bad. And it was quite an experience. Needless to say, we left. We did not buy the tractor. We said no thank you. And we went on our merry way. And because of the construction made us late getting down there, we didn't have time to go over to Burkholders to look at the other tractors over there. So kind of a, you know, my dad was like, what a wasted day. And I'm like, well, you know, you live and learn, you know, you never know. You might find a deal, you might not. So when we bought the 4555, that was out of Pennsylvania too. That was out of, what was the place? Beaver Creek, I think that was where we got that. And you know, we really haven't had an issue with the 45. We excuse me, Jesus, cough. Sitting here talking doesn't help. We had that, you know, obviously that oil line that, you know, had a pinhole wear in it. The only real issue we've had with the 45 is the front pump went on us. I was chisel plowing, and I just remember my seat started going down. I'm like, oh, that's not good. So I tried to get to the edge of the field, and the tractor just shut off. Other than that, haven't had any transmission, probably knock on wood. Haven't had any, knock on cow. Haven't had any transmission problems. Haven't had any engine problems. It's been a really good tractor, and that tractor's been turned up horsepower wise too. Like I said, I think factory 45-55 is around 155, 160 PTO horsepower. This one's running 200, so that's the only thing that made me a little nervous, because at first you hear, oh, 200, that's cool, and then you're thinking, I hope it was done right. I hope we don't have engine problems. And so far, it's been a good tractor. So you never know when you're looking for used tractors. But came back. We were talking a little bit, and you know, of course, I look at Tractor House and all that all the time, and it's like there's some nice tractors, but you know, they're in Indiana or they're in Nebraska or something like that. You know, so we did end up circling back. And called up. I just said, you know, I know we were looking for quad range or power quad, but you know, let's go look at that 4250 that John's got. You know, and ended up going and looking at that 4250, and he fell in love with it, and that's the one we ended up going with and brought to the farm. And it's been a great tractor. I really like that tractor. I'm in it a lot. Like I said, taking manure out. Running it on the roller harrow. It looks really sharp with the snap-on tools. That's got 18-442s, and then we put the snap-on duals that John actually had also. So that was that's been a great tractor. It's the 15-speed power shift is a nice transmission. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting up. I can't sit for too long. So anyway, so that was a story about you know, looking to go buy a tractor. Like I said, it wasn't a PSA or, you know, here's what to look for and stuff like that. Just something that I thought was kind of comical. But anyway, I'm sure a lot of you guys have checked out tractors and stuff like that. So drop me some of your stories below, some of your experiences and this and that. But anyway, yeah, a lot of things coming up as hopefully the weather gets better. New York State Farm Show at the end of February. I hope to see some of you there. But we'll be doing some more feeding cows and other random videos going on throughout the winter. But anyway, until next time, give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Drop me a question or comment below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you have, thumbs up to you. Me and Lily really appreciate it. I will see you next time. Have a good one, everybody. Say goodbye, Lily.